oli no kupu. Kupua e ke aloha.
Kupua e ke aloha.
He aloha no ka aina.
He aloha no ka aina.
O ka aina ke ali'i.
O ka aina ke ali'i.
Malama aku e ola mau.
Malama aku e ola mau.
Kupua e ke aloha.
Kupua e ke aloha.
He aloha no ka aina.
He aloha no ka aina.
O ka aina ke ali'i.
O ka aina ke ali'i.
Malama aku e ola mau.
Malama aku e ola mau.
Aloha, my name is Ridge Souza. I'm a Kupu member in the Conservation Leadership Development Program. For the past 2 years, I've been working with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Marine Monuments of the Pacific. There are 4 marine monuments in the Pacific, which are protected areas and encompass over 1.1 million square miles. During my Kupu term, I've had the opportunity to help plan and execute field camp deployments, as well as conduct research operations to some of the most remote islands in the Pacific. Today, I wanted to bring you along, share some of my experiences. I figured we'd start by going to Midway Atoll in Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument.
Midway is home of the world's largest albatross breeding colony and nesting site of many other seabirds. It's a special place in my heart because it's where I started my career in conservation as a 6-month volunteer, and also a place that helped me reconnect to my Hawaiian cultural identity. As a kupu, I've been able to return to Midway. In particular, one trip I joined on was with Hawaiian cultural practitioners from OHA and the Bishop Museum in order to participate in a makaloa weaving workshop. During this trip, I learned about a process called hule'ia, which is really sitting down, taking observations and documenting them over a long time frame to help understand the seasonal changes and shifts across a landscape and how things are interconnected. My background before going to Midway was as a project manager and technologist, so I probably wouldn't have been able to tell you even what a seabird was. But being out in the field, living amongst the wildlife, I'd observe things and then go read a textbook maybe about bird flight and then come back the next day and really see it in action, and that really helped to solidify a lot of the concepts and help me understand seabird ecology, and a lot of people now call me the Birdman. Next, we'll go to Johnston Atoll in the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument. Getting to Johnston involves a 3-day boat ride from Honolulu, and the reason we're headed out there is for a crew swap. We'll be picking up the 5-person crew who've been on island for 6 months and dropping off a new crew. Being that many of the islands and monuments that we manage are so remote and difficult to get to, the main purpose of our biology team is to research and implement remote monitoring technologies such as GPS, hydrophones, and game cameras to help monitor trends and make management decisions from in Honolulu. Despite all the cool photos and videos I've been showing you, I must admit that over 2/3 of my time is spent behind my desk in Honolulu, organizing the large amounts of data we collect and prepping equipment and technology to be used in the field. Earlier this year, I had the opportunity to go to Palmyra Atoll to help out with a rainforest realignment project. While there, I assisted the volunteer cocoa crew to remove coconut monocultures that are crowding out native plants that provide seabird nesting habitat. Palmyra is known for its thriving predator-dominant marine ecosystems and some of the most biomass-rich reefs in the world. I heard a talk by Dr. Alan Friedlander of Nat Geo Pristine Seas where he discussed the importance of exploring and helping to protect these last wild places in the ocean, as they help provide a window into the past. Let's say, for example, that from my grandparents' generation to my parents, there are 25% less fish. And from my parents to my generation, there's another 25% less. Our ideas of what a thriving ocean ecosystem should be like would be very different. And after visiting Palmyra, I feel like I have some insights into what Oahu of old could have looked like. When my grandparents tell me stories about being able to walk out and pick limu or catch whatever fish you wanted to for dinner, I feel like now I have a better understanding of what that could have looked like. I was raised in the Wailua Haleiwa area, and I know Haleiwa isn't an ancient place name, but I'd imagine whoever gave the name Haleiwa, meaning House of Iwa, did so because there were a lot of iwa along this coastline. And growing up, I never saw too many, just a couple here and there. It wasn't until I found out that I was going to Midway Atoll that I saw a flock fly over, and since then, it seems like every time I'm headed out on an expedition, whether it be on a boat leaving the channel or driving down to H2 headed to the airport, I'll see one fly overhead as if to kind of give me a wink or a nod, say keep fighting the good fight, help protecting the areas that we love. I feel incredibly thankful to have had the opportunity to work on these special places for the past few years. I now see it as my duty to share the work going on and share these special places with others. So I hope you've enjoyed my quick tour through some of the islands within the marine monuments of the Pacific. I'd like to throw a special shout out to the program staff of Kupu, Hawaii, also the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, in particular my boss and mentor, Beth Flint, and last but not least, all the biologists, biotechnicians, Kupu volunteers, and absolute hammers who I've had the opportunity to work with the past few years. Aloha.